The bottom line, the gist of what I have to tell you is that you are a snake. That's what you are. You're a sneaky, manipulative snake. You're a liar. You lie through your teeth all the time. And what's really bad about this is that you lie to yourself about how much you lie. And this whole thing is so bad that you might think you understand what I'm talking about right now, but you don't even know the tip of the iceberg yet. You haven't seen anything yet. We need to go into some depth here. We need to unravel the various layers of lies, manipulations, and self-deception that are going on in your mind. The name of the game is self-deception. That's what's going on. Self-deception is going on in a multitude of ways. It's ingenious, the degrees to which your mind can deceive itself. And it takes some effort, some real, honest looking on your part to start to notice the self-deception. To help us to understand this, I want to introduce a concept called the self-agenda. What you're doing in your whole life is you're running based on self-agenda. The self-agenda is basically what you want and what promotes your health, well-being, and your survival. Simple enough. Except you don't yet understand, and you're not conscious of yet, just what self-agenda really means. Because self-agenda is not just literally your survival, and it's not just literally your health. It could also be your unhealth, or your lack of survival. That's still part of self-agenda. Fundamentally, what self-agenda is about is it's about preserving your image of yourself. Not just your body, not just literally your health, but more to the point, it's about preserving your self-concept, who you believe you are. Not who you really are, who you believe you are. And most people don't make this distinction between these two things. But the thing you think you are, you, I'm pointing at you right now, that entity that you think is sitting there looking at me, listening to me, you think that's the real you. That's not the real you. That's the self-image. That's the self-concept. And it's that thing that's trying to survive. That's what the self-agenda is ultimately about, protecting that. It's not about protecting the body. It's not about protecting you as a human being. It's about protecting you as an ego, as an identity, as this entity that lives in your head. Truth, you know how much we like to pay lip service to loving truth and honoring truth and living our life according to truth as though we really value truth? Well, here's the insight. Truth is not your operating principle in life. Truth is not your operating principle in life. You don't live your life valuing truth. That's not what runs the show. What do I mean by operating principle? I mean like the central driver of what motivates you in life. Why are you doing the behaviors and actions that you do? Why do you have the thoughts you have? Why do you have the beliefs you have? We like to tell ourselves it's because, well, Leo, they're true, they're accurate. I know they're not all accurate, but I do my best to find the truest ones. And so I'm living according to truth, right? I'm relatively honest and relatively good human being. No, that's a lie. Your chief operating principle is self-survival. And self-survival here means survival of the self-image, not survival as you as a body. In fact, you could shoot yourself in the head because you're so depressed. And that would be an example of self-survival. You would kill the body, but you actually are, in a kind of weird, twisted sense, what you're doing there is you're kind of defending your ideas, defending your self-image. Now, it sounds weird because you're thinking like, well, Leo, if I kill myself, then my ideas of myself are gone. But see, it doesn't feel that way from the inside. It doesn't feel that way from the inside. When people die for their beliefs, when people do crazy things for their beliefs, when people feel guilty because of their beliefs and their worldview, and all this kind of stuff, that's all them defending their ego, defending their worldviews. That's what that is. That's self-agenda. That's self-survival. Comfort and security. These are huge. Your self-concept needs comfort and security. It needs certainty. You love your certainty. You need to be certain about everything. And as soon as you're not certain about something, what happens? Your mind goes crazy. You can't stand it. You need to go find a solution. You need to go find the certainty that you want. All of that, really what that is this is all that you're doing in life. There's nothing really that you're doing in life other than these two things. Comfort and certainty. That's all you seek. Comfort and certainty. Think about how deep that is. Think about all the stuff you do in life that you tell yourself, well, I do all this noble stuff. I'm in a relationship, I'm raising my children, and I'm going to church, and I'm going to school, and I'm going to hang out with my friends, and I go do some charity work, all this stuff that I do. But if you're really self-honest, and you take a look at what is it you're actually doing with all those things, why are you doing them? What you're going to discover is that, oh shit, if I'm not lying to myself, I'm not deceiving myself, I have to admit that I'm doing these things for comfort and for certainty. Not out of love, not out of concern for others, not out of the well-being and preservation of society. I don't try to go out there and, wage a political campaign because I want to improve society. That's not why you do that. The reason you do that is for your own personal self-survival. To serve your self-image, that's why you do it. Self-concept, they need to keep that whole and integrated. Because as soon as it starts to fracture, literally your identity starts to melt away. And that frightens the shit out of you. So you scramble, you go into action mode, and you take action to defend this self-image of yours. Low awareness serves your self-agenda. It's not really good for the self-agenda for you to be too aware of your surroundings and what's actually happening in life, which is the whole problem in life, which is why we have all the problems personally and socially, is because we have low awareness, low consciousness. This isn't an accident. This is by design. This is how the mind is designed. It has to be this way, because if you actually had high awareness, this would require high responsibility. This would also require facing the pain of facing all of the lies that you've been living throughout your whole life. All the crafty little lies you've constructed. All the manipulative ways in which you behave. And start to face these lies. That's real painful. It's real painful because you have a story. Part of your self-image includes the image of you as not being a liar, but being a noble, honest, decent human being. Non-manipulative human being, an altruistic human being who really cares about his children and his wife and his family and whatever you care about. But see, all of those things, really, those are all deceptions. The only thing you care about is your self-image. That's issue number one for you. And as soon as that self-image is ever threatened, oh man, everything else gets thrown under the bus. And how quickly it happens is shocking. But because it does happen so quickly, what happens is the mind can't handle it. The mind has to hide it, sweep it under the rug. So low awareness is your natural state. Raising your awareness, this is painful, challenging, difficult, and produces cognitive dissonance for you. It jostles the various notions you have about how reality works and who you think you are. It challenges your identity. Literally, your old self has to die for you to raise awareness sufficiently high. You can't keep your old self-image, and still have high awareness. It doesn't work. What do you think is the best way to hide a lie? If you really wanted to lie real good How would you do it? If you were like a system that wanted to be a really good lying, manipulating system, well, what it would do is it would tell itself that it's not lying. And this is exactly how your system functions, how you function as a system. This is called self-deception, when you tell yourself that you don't lie. No, Leo, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not a liar. I don't manipulate people. I don't know. Maybe you're talking about my neighbor or my mom or my dad or my ex, but you're not talking about me, right? Oh, this is all about you. It's all about you. Be really careful when your mind starts to point fingers at everybody else except yourself. Point the finger right at yourself here as I'm talking, because all this is applying straight to you. The best way to hide a lie is to have zero awareness. Then you can lie with impunity. You can serve the self-agenda without even knowing that you're serving a self-agenda, which is exactly what you're doing in life. This is your whole life, is the serving of a self-agenda without really knowing that you're serving a self-agenda, unless you've really studied up on this stuff and you've really done a lot of inner work. You have to be wired for self-deception because the self is itself a lie. I'm not just saying that some piece of you is a lie. I'm saying that all of you is a lie. Your entire identity, who you believe you are as a biological organism, is just a complete fabrication of your mind. And all the beliefs you have about how life works and what reality is, this is a complete fabrication of your mind. These are just concepts in your mind. Now, they don't feel like concepts. They feel like they're real. They feel very solid. They feel like reality. They don't feel like beliefs. Yes, that's exactly why low consciousness is required. To hold a belief and not recognize it as a belief requires low consciousness. You can't really effectively serve a self-agenda when you recognize that it's bullshit. Evolution and survival of the fittest can't really happen unless there's this core deception going on inside the organism. The organism has to tell itself that it's special. I'm special. My life matters more than every other life. This is a complete lie. We know it's a lie. There's no reason. Only the self-image says so. Only the ego says so from a selfish survival standpoint, right? But notice that there's something else going on in life besides survival of the fittest and evolution. You might say, well, Leo, that's how it's supposed to be. Wait a minute. There might be something else going on in life besides that. And that would be truth. See, one thing you might have not considered before that I want you to open your mind to is the possibility that your self-agenda in life and truth are two totally different things. See? It might be the case that honoring and serving truth actually damages one's chances of survival and reproduction. And vice versa, to increase one's chances of survival and reproduction, one might be benefited by lying or living falsehood because it gives you a reproductive or a survival advantage. And this presents an interesting dilemma for us as human beings living our ordinary lives. What do we honor? Do we honor our survival and our reproduction, or do we honor truth? Which one do we honor when the two come and start butting heads with each other? When we have to choose one at the cost of another? Leo, I'm a champion of truth, so of course I'm going to select truth. But see, that's actually real hard to do in practice. You have no idea yet, if you are fancying yourself a champion of truth, you have no idea yet how difficult it is to live that. The only way you can live that is by lying to yourself a lot, or by completely obliterating yourself image. Like completely obliterating it. To the point where you don't even see yourself as a human being anymore. You don't see yourself as a biological entity anymore. Because as long as you see yourself as a biological entity, this human body standing here right now talking to you, as long as you see yourself as that, you got to defend that. You got to protect that. And that's the master that you serve. Truth is not the master you serve. Your ass living and your ass reproducing, that's the master you really serve. And then you have a little thin veneer of telling yourself that you serve truth, but you don't really. Start to become more mindful of how you lie, and especially about how you lie about your self-agenda and your manipulations of people and situations.